Hello, excuse me. Welcome to White Birch Tarot and Astrology. It's very late, and I was going to do a reading tonight. In fact, I pulled the cards, and they're on the table downstairs. And I have a lot of astrology to talk about, but I just didn't feel up to it because I'm very tired today, so I'm going to do it tomorrow. But I wanted to do a quick because I have so much to talk about tomorrow. I didn't want to add in this one thing. But I was sitting here meditating on the north and south nodes. And for those of you who have heard me talk about them before, this is what I've learned about them. And again, I'm not a professional astrologer, but I have studied astrology for decades. And I've read enough about it that I think I'm not saying I know everything. I don't. But I do know a lot. And you have probably heard me say before when I talk about the nodes of the moon, which again are not things, they're the orbits. And I should have looked it up. But again, that's why I don't want to be a professional astrologer. I don't like details. Not my thing. So one of those, the south or the north node, is, okay, so picture the moon going around the earth. Okay, it's probably an elliptical orb because everything seems to be elliptical. Not that it matters. But the thing is, the north node is either the farthest, I should say, because it's distance, the farthest point in the orbit from the earth, or the closest. I forget which one is which. You know what? I'll bet the south node is the closest, because that's the one where we have, when I talk about it, this is what I've learned. Okay, when in my reading, I've learned that the south nodes of the moon, wherever you have those in your chart, and wherever transiting affects all of us right now, but in your own chart, you will have a specific place where your north and south nodes are. They're opposite each other. And that's important for your life lesson, because what I've read, and I've said this before, is the north node is the path we're supposed to follow that will lead us to our greatest, expression in this lifetime. And our south nodes, which we feel more comfortable with, is where we're supposed to be moving away from because we already know it. So the north node has just moved into Pisces, and remember, they go backwards. So they start at 29 degrees of a sign and go back to 0, because the signs don't go 1 through 30, they go 0 through 29. But the nodes go from 29 degrees to 0. Okay, so the north node, which is where we're supposed to be moving toward, is at 29, or I believe tomorrow it hits 28 degrees of Pisces, and the south node then is opposite that at 29, or tomorrow going to be like 28 degrees of Virgo. So Pisces rules the 12th house, Virgo rules the 6th house. So I was sitting here thinking about that, and suddenly I thought, why would we move away from a skill that we've already developed, which is your south node? What sign it's in your chart is what you know how to do. So I get that if you already know how to do it, you maybe don't want to make it the focus of your life, but why would you throw it out? That doesn't make sense. I thought, wait, that doesn't make sense to me. So I'm reframing that. And I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, because if something's right, it makes sense. Not always, okay? Some things don't make sense, like that earring thing I had the other night when the round thing, the mask hoop went through it's impossible. Sometimes things are impossible and they happen anyway. But what I'm saying is, I think that normally things make sense if they're correct. Again, not always. There's always an exception. But I was sitting here thinking about Pisces and Virgo. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. Virgo, the south nodes of the moon are just moved into Virgo. They will be there for a year and a half. So I thought, wait a minute, we're supposed to just throw out all the Virgo traits that makes no sense. And then I started thinking, how would the Virgo traits help us on our path in the sign of Virgo? Because when signs are opposite each other, they're connected. They're not, yes, they're opposite, but the opposites complement each other. Do they have sometimes a confrontational aspect? Yeah, they do. Opposites can, but opposites also attract, and opposites also complement each other. Look at yin and yang, would you just air and fire? I mean, is there opposite fire? We won't go there. I'm not sure about that. I suppose fire and water are opposites, but sometimes you need that to make steam. So anyway, my thinking was, I said to myself, what if we took the traits of Virgo, which are service to oneself and others, health issues, attention to detail, I just lost the word, it starts with a C, conscientious, being extremely conscientious and caring. I mean, Pisces is unconditional love, but Virgo is also love, because Virgo is, yes, Virgo is the virgin, not the sexual virgin, but the female and the feminine energy that stands in her own power and refuses to be owned by anyone else. That's what Virgo means. But from that place, darn it, sorry, from that place, Virgo is able to be authentic, and you can serve better when you're authentic. So I thought to myself, there's the key right there, is you take the caring, conscientious energy of Virgo, and it helps you fuel your path toward the Pisces pathway, the North Node, which is, Pisces is spirituality, it's unconditional love, it's lack of boundaries. Virgo has good boundaries, Pisces does not, but Pisces has weak boundaries for a reason, because it rules, we are all one. It rules the field, the whatever you want to call it. I was just going to do a couple minutes here, but this is important because the nodes are important. So if we take the Virgo energy, don't throw it out. I take back what I said. I was going by what I had read and learned, and maybe that's true. I get what they mean. Like, you don't want to rest on your laurels and stay in the same, like, what did Carolyn May say? No one gets off a comfortable couch. So you don't want to stay only where you're comfortable. You want to move out of your comfort zone to the opposite energy, and I get that. But what if we used what we're comfortable with as a tool to move us forward? Because Virgo and Pisces, at some point, and again, I'm picturing figure eights have just been in my head for months now. The center of a figure eight, the point, is where the two opposites meet. And that is also, when you think about, like, reality, what is reality? Well, if you look at quantum mechanics, reality is all about relationship. When they get down to the subatomic level, and you're thinking, why is she going here? Because it's important. What really matters, in fact, what really exists, is not so much the object and the subject, because the object changes depending upon how the subject looks at it. Oh, I should have brought my phone, because, well, my quote tomorrow night is about that. I haven't done it yet. Clearly, it's not tomorrow night. Now we're getting really quantum. But reality is literally not an interpretation, kind of. It's a relationship. It's a relationship. That's what creates the entire physical universe in which we live. It's the tension between the opposites that creates everything. And when, when they do those, I always get that double slit experiment. I always get it messed up when I try to explain it. You can look it up. But the point is that when you look at something, how you look at something changes what you look at. Wayne Dyer said that too. He said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. As far as I can tell, scientifically, that is true. And I'm not saying that everything has to be scientifically true, although I think if we understood science better, it is. It's just that we don't know how to prove that. Someday they will. But I don't need science to prove everything for me. Like if I love something or if I love someone, I don't need a scientist to come along and say, this is why you love it. I don't care. I know I love it. That's enough for me. So, there is heart wisdom. I think in this world we're too cognitive and we don't tap into the feminine, the orbit of Venus here, which, I keep waiting for someone to ask me, oh, are you a devil worshiper? Dang, no one's asked me yet. I'm not. I don't even believe in the devil. The devil, if anything, is fear. It's the lack of love is what fear is. Anyway, this is the orbit of the planet Venus, for gosh sakes. And they took it, and don't go down that rabbit hole. I get so angry. Mars and Aries. Okay, so we're going to take this Virgo energy that we that we all have, and we're going to watch out for the every sign has negative energy because everything has two sides. So the negative side of Virgo is being overly conscientious, which is, we used to call it anal. That's not a nice way to put it. What's a better way to put it? Over conscientious, perfectionistic. That doesn't serve anybody because we're not perfect and we're not going to be. Okay, so you don't want to get overly attached to the outcome. You just want to do your best. And you also don't want to sacrifice yourself in the interest of serving others because you must serve yourself also. And you don't want to only serve yourself. You want to serve yourself and others. Okay? And then, of course, the dark side of Pisces, or the flip side, is lack of responsibility, lack of boundaries. Come on, there's more than that. It's the light fish and the dark fish. There is a dark side to Pisces, and it's being too immersed in the one, and that's why Pisces rules things like mental illness and addictions like alcoholism and over fantasizing and getting lost in dreamland rather than facing reality, because Pisces is not physical reality, really. It's more comfortable with, it's the ocean. It's, we're all one. And that's a great thing. That's what we're all, ultimately, I think that's why it's the last sign of the zodiac. That's what we're all aiming for. That's called spiritual oneness, that's, and we already have it. We're not creating it. We already have it. What we're doing is we're trying to realize it. And when I say realize it, I mean that in the figurative sense of getting it cognitively, and in the literal sense, which means to make real, which means we create it on earth. Sometimes I use the Bible to, and again, I'm not pushing a religion because I'm not any religion. But didn't Jesus say something about heaven on earth, or this is heaven, or we're already there, or something like that? I'm not a very reliable, I don't know. But that's true. That's true. And so it's already there. And so what we need to do is get rid of all the crap that gets in the way of us expressing it, and also find our authenticity and our pathway that will lead us there. And, the things that get thrown at you in your life. I was just watching a video by Teal Swan. Oh my God, that woman is amazing. Oh, what was it called? Something about being afraid of conflict in relationships, avoiding conflict. Because a friend of mine's dealing with that, and I deal with that too. I get really terrified about conflict, and I know why. But that doesn't serve anybody to avoid conflict. So the conflict is brought to you by, no, that's an ad, never mind. The conflict is brought to you by the universe, by God, whatever you want to call it, for a reason, because it helps you along in your growth. And I really didn't mean this to be a treatise on spiritual growth, but you know what? These things just pop into my mind. And lately I've felt more like sharing them. And I was kind of kidding last night when I said I wanted to start a podcast. I don't think I am kidding. I think I might be serious. I don't know. I think that'd be really fun. I think I'm headed in that direction. It may not be immediate, but I smell something. It's just, that smells good to me. Feels good. So anyway, I just wanted to point out, because tomorrow night I have so much to talk about. I think it's too late tonight. I probably won't do there's a lot happening, but I wanted to talk about the nodes because they're so important. And then, like I said, I just had that download tonight about, why am I telling people to throw out the skill that they're good at? And again, just because the South Node is in Virgo doesn't mean you're good at that personally, because your South Nodes may be, I don't know where your South Nodes are, but if you don't know where they are, if you send me, and again, I always forget to leave my email address in the video, but tomorrow night I'm going to write myself a note. If you send me your birth date and place of birth, actually, all you need to do is send me your birth date, and I need your place of birth. Crumb. Do I need your time of birth? No. I can tell you what sign the nodes were in when you were born. I can't tell you what house unless you know your time, but the sign is very important. And while I'm at it, since I'm already almost at 20 minutes, why don't I just quickly say, because I was talking about going to do these astrology videos and I never did, I want to just do a basic, this is going to take 2 minutes, I swear. The planets are the energies, and you can think of them like gods and goddesses. Like, think of them as people with gifts. So Venus is the goddess of love, beauty, and relationship, harmony, and balance. Okay, she rules Taurus and Libra. So that's kind of like her job, those are the things over which she rules. Now, when she's in a certain sign, then let's say she's in Capricorn. No, let's say she's in Pisces, because that's where she is right now. Then how does that change her? Okay, she's wearing different clothing and she has different tools in her hand. So she has the tools that Pisces has. So Pisces is the ocean. Pisces is unconditional love, as I have said. Pisces is compassion. Venus has those things with which to work, which is why she's exalted in Pisces, because that's good for the goddess of love to be in the sign of unconditional love, right? The house that she's found in, because she's in a house in your chart, and I'm going to look at, I use, I don't know what it's called. See, that's why I don't know the details. It's either called tropical or placidus. I use the one where the houses are not equal. I'm going to look into the equal house thing, because I've looked into that, but I don't know. I'm going to look at my chart and see which one really makes more sense to me. I have done that before. I'm going to do it again. But the equal house chart makes all the houses equal degrees. The other one does not. So the farther north you live, or south, it can change the size of the houses. And someone who was like literally born at the North Pole, which I don't think anyone has ever been. Can you be born at the North Pole? I don't know. But if you were, then you'd have like one house. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, the house that it's in is simply the area of your life in which that energy will manifest. So for example, if it's in the seventh house is your house of relationship. Normally, that's the house of intimate relationships, whether work or romantic, because there are other houses of relationships. For example, the 11th house is friends and organizations that you belong to. The third house is neighbors and siblings. The fifth house is children, if you have any or if you interact with any, and the inner child. So just for an example. So that's the difference between the planets are the energies, Mars rules your desire, your physical body, your physical action, whether you drive fast or slow, you know, what you desire, how you act around your desires, whether you're nurturing or, just passionate or just, and your spiritual nature to some extent. So when Mars is in Cancer, for example, right now, and Mars is retrograde in Cancer, Mars is not the fiery warrior. He is, because he always is, but he's in the sign of Cancer, which is nurturing, ruled by the moon. It's emotional. It's a water sign, and he's fire. And so he's a little bit at a disadvantage as a warrior, but he's also very good in Cancer at nurturing very strongly and standing up for those in need and being compassionate. And again, those aren't his normal qualities, so he's a little bit, uncomfortable, but it doesn't mean he's not effective. But when he's retrograde in Cancer, we go back to our childhoods, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow when I post, because the cards that I got were very reminiscent of that, and I was going to talk about it. So anyway, I didn't mean to go on so long. Truly, I didn't. But I just thought it was important that we know what the nodes are doing, because they're going to be there for a year and a half. And again, if you want to email me, it's capital K 209-20330 @gmail.com. And if you want to give me your birth date and your place of birth, and then if you know your time, I can tell you your rising sign. I'm not going to be able to interpret your chart for you. That takes days. I can't do that that's just too much. But I can tell you where things are. Then you can look them up, okay? Okay, I did not mean to go on so long, but this just hit me tonight, and I thought it was really important. So I will talk to you tomorrow night, and thank you so much for listening. And let me know you were here. Leave me a comment if this resonates. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. That helps me. And just thank you. Blessings. Good night. And also, I cannot believe when I read that poem last night, the picture that it took of me. I try not to care what I look like. If you're a woman, I was going to say in this country, probably in most countries, you cannot get away from that. And that's really sad, because I've tried all my life not to be what I call, no, I shouldn't, this is just my words. I'm not putting down women that want to dress up, because, I like to wear, I don't believe it. I've always wanted, it's too late now. It's too late now, but when I had my younger body, I always wanted a low-cut red satin gown, because I thought I was going to win an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, and I'm still planning on it, but I'm not wearing the low-cut red satin gown. I don't know what I'll wear, but anyway, what I was going to say is I've always tried, and I've not been, I was a tomboy. I've never been, and I'm not trying to put anybody down for that. I'm not saying, but a foo-foo, what I call a foo-foo woman. And what I mean by that is women that feel like they have to look perfect all the time and they have to get facelifts, which drive me crazy, and I think they look horrid. Not that I'm here. Look, you want to see my instant facelift? Okay, here I am. I just took, look, 20 years comes off. I was thinking if I could get a big enough clothespin and just like wear it from the back and then not care what people see behind me. I'm just teasing. My sister got lupus from having a facelift when she was 52 years old. When I tried to talk her out of it, she had right here, she had one frown line like this. It wasn't even that bad. It was like that. And she got a facelift, and it was so severe. Did you know that it's as hard on your body almost as having an organ transplant? I wish I had the pic. No, I wouldn't show people the pictures. I just about lose it when I think about what she looked like. I can't think of it. It was horrific. Please do not ever have voluntary plastic surgery like that, because it can cause lupus. It ruined the rest of her life. She did it because she had to get another job, and she was afraid she was too old to get hired. And so she did that. And then ironically, because the universe doesn't protect you when you make stupid decisions always. Ironically, she got lupus and wasn't able to work and almost lost her house. And yeah. So anyway, okay, I'm done. I'm sorry to go on so long. Truly, this is a long time. Tomorrow night, I will read the cards and they look really interesting. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow night. That's my sales pitch. Good night.